Music Production.
Alrighty, I just spoken to the mic for 6 to 10 minutes without pressing record, so that's great. Oh, it's hump day. We can't complain. The life still rips, you know. We literally cannot complain at all. So I'm going to go over an overall market breakdown, Nasdaq, S&P, but I'm also going to add the leaders of both of those indexes. So we got the Disney stock and Apple stock, one of the leaders in each index. So we're going to start off with the S&P. Now, I'm warning you I'm going to let you know this is a video with way more, it's a bullish video pretty much. Like, I'm not really going to go over too much bearish possibilities, because I am leaning towards the markets making a new all-time high in the coming days and weeks. So what we're looking at here, right? This is the S&P. We had this major falling wedge, and we have this massive breakout that happened 1 month ago. Now we just have a small pullback, giving us a higher low on the weekly and the daily time frames. And it's changing the trend. So again, I want to go over this, right? We started off at all-time high. We create this low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. But then we get this massive breakout. So this happened within like 2 weeks pretty much. And it creates a new high. So this is a higher high when we compare it to this previous one. So now what we're looking for is the trend change, right? This was lower highs and lower lows. So now we want to look for is higher highs and higher lows, right? This is just the most basic way to break it down. So this would be a higher low compared to the previous one. So what we want to see here is we want to weaken this zone now and eventually do one of these where we get that breakout and continue that trend, right? And then make our ways up to the new all-time high. So that's the overall market chart that we're looking at. So it's pretty simple. This massive breakout, we have the pullback, and we're looking for that higher low. We're starting to see a potential morning star pattern happen here, which would indicate there's going to be a potential reversal to the upside. There's no major bearish volume over the past couple weeks here on this pullback. Sure, there's a lot of fear in the market and people are, right? Think about it. Taxes came up too, right? Maybe there's a bunch of people who are panicking to sell taxes over the past little bit, right? There's so many possibilities. But overall, plain and simple, we're trying to make a higher low to continue the new trend, to reverse the old trend. So this zone here, right, on this chart from 4,500 to 4,600, major confluence, right? We came up, resistance, we broke up over it, support, 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 and then we broke below again, resistance, resistance, resistance. Plain and simple terms, we need to weaken this zone before we get that new move higher, where we break up over, then it acts as support, and we go. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for here, right? This is the S&P 500. So there's a bunch of stocks in here that are, right, setting up patterns, and Disney is one of them, and I'll go over that in a bit. But here we go on the Nasdaq, right? Super similar, falling wedge, major breakout, similar trend changes, right? We're now looking for that weekly higher low. So we get that big pop. Now we're looking for the weekly higher low. The only thing I want to add is there's a potential inverse head and shoulders shaping up with our neckline being around 15,000. So we got the left shoulder, we have the head, and now we have the right shoulder developing. So again, we just want to see things curl to the upside where we weaken this zone again, right? We weaken the zone, we create another higher low, we break up over, and we back test, continuing the trend. That's pushing us towards this all-time high, previous all-time high. So this could potentially be happening here, right? Where it takes a few weeks to develop a nice right shoulder on this pattern and then we rip. So think about, hey, I recommend you guys doing this, but like honestly, check out a bunch of stocks that are in the S&P and in the Nasdaq. What do their charts look like? Are they setting up bullish patterns, right? Check out some of the leaders and then check out some of the ones that aren't leaders, right? I know skills, SKLZ. Don't sleep on that one because that's a tech stock that I think has massive potential, especially if we go to a new all-time high. So I'm going to go over Disney and Apple real quick because I think they don't necessarily, well, I know Apple definitely does lead the market. Disney doesn't really need lead the S&P, but it's one of the top stocks in that index. So we're going to go over it and I like it a lot. We're coming back to a zone where we gapped up, and this was at late 2020. So this was like a year and a bit ago, right? This is quite some time ago. This chart gapped up and then we went for a rip. This was a part of that massive 2020 bull market, right? So now that we have this period of consolidation, right? Technically, this stock has been in a bear market since March 21st, March 2021. We're unable to make that new high. But now that we're coming back into this zone and we're using it as a major support, right? We come back, we fill the gap once, twice, three times, and we're creating this descending triangle pattern here, right? So we can't sleep on that. It's an evident pattern that everyone's probably looking at. Like, I can't be the first one to point this out. But the way I think of it is if the markets do get that turn in the next few weeks to the upside and that higher low is correct and we're starting to push up higher, this name is going to be one of them that's going to want to do these moves, right? So there's a gap above, right? Look at this gap. Gaps like to be filled on these names. This gap right here will eventually want to get filled. Right now is a sweet time for Disney calls, in my opinion. We're at a major point in the chart where the risk to reward opportunity is mint. Like, it's absolutely mint. Here we are. We risk a little bit, but the reward is massive. Options in this situation it's like they bang. They absolutely bang. So this is a chart that I don't want to sleep on, right? We get that curl to the upside. I'd be looking at like 140 2-week to one month options, and you might be a very happy camper once they potentially break out of that 100% trade range. So don't sleep on that. Again, don't take this as financial advice, but like I'm going to be trying to make that play this week. I'll be looking at it tomorrow where I'm transferring money over and trying to play options on Disney. So the opportunities here, you might as well take the shot while you have it, right? Like I don't see why not. It's a great opportunity because not only is this chart setting up, but the overall markets are too. Now Apple, right? Plain and simple terms, right? Largest uptrend of pretty much all time. There's a million patterns on this name, and you can go back to 2004 and probably point out patterns. So I'm going to make this as simple as possible. Support and resistance, baby. That's it. We have major support here. It was once resistance, but now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 times support. And now we have this major resistance zone up here. We've come up once, twice, 3 times and got rejected. So what are we looking for next? We want to weaken the zone. It might take a little bit more time, but honest to God, remember this video, right? $200. Before the end of 2022, Apple's going to probably be above $200. That's my opinion, especially if the markets continue this new trend change. 17%, is that crazy before the end of 2022 in Apple? No, it's not. Why I say it's not is because when we look back at March 15th here, right? This is the Nasdaq. Massive breakout. That's 16% on the Nasdaq, right? March 15th to March 29th. Huge bounce out of this massive like pattern here, right? This falling wedge. Now let's look at Apple, right? We come back to this major support quite a few times. You could also have looked at this as some trend line that was going on here. You could look at it in a few different ways. You could look at it as like a downward channel going on, something like this. But essentially, that same breakout, March 15th to March 29th, gave us 19-20%. So again, a little bit more than the overall market. It's not crazy to see this name go to 200 by the end of the year, especially if all of a sudden a bunch of good news comes out. Russia, Ukraine kind of dies down. I'm telling you, these names are probably in good hands. They're market leaders and they're strong names. So that's the breakdown for this week. Peace.